Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Plan With Me Self-Quarantine Edition. Hi guys, and as I said in the intro, this is a special plan with me coming from my home where me and my son and my husband are kind of in self-isolation right now. You might hear a little bit of coughing. I have been coughing for about a week now, and we got checked out by the public health officials for the military here in Massachusetts, and we've just been asked to kind of sit tight. We haven't been tested or anything, but we have just been asked to stay at home and away from people as much as possible, so that is what we're doing. Also, because we are in the state of Massachusetts, all of the public schools are closed, so I'm working from home, my husband's working from home, our son is home as well, so this presents some challenges to my regular planning routine. So I'm going to do a few things today. I have brought out last year's passion planner, and the reason why is because this has a good weekly overview with the individual times and half hours for each of the hours of the day, and that's the level of finite planning that I'm doing for my son. So I whipped this guy out. Even though it is the wrong dates, I'm just going to cross out the dates, and I'm going to use this as a guide for his homeschooling. One of the other things that has changed is the way that I've been planning for the past week, since we have been at home for the past week. So usually I have a work planner, which is my Hobonichi Techo cousin, and my at-home planner, my personal planner, which is this Lloydstrom 1917. What I've been doing is I've just migrated everything into one planner. I don't know how long this is going to continue, just like everyone else. So I'm going to just try to migrate everything into one book and keep that in my Lloydstrom 1917, which is kind of sad because I have so much year left here in the Hobonichi Techo. But alas, this is probably the last of my concerns right now. Right now, I just try to keep things as streamlined as possible. So I'm going to move everything into my Lloydstrom 1917. I'm going to show you guys how I am planning for my work week and how I am planning for my son's kind of stay-at-home homeschool situation. So I'm going to do my son first because I like to set up his day and then work my day around that schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out this information for him, and then I'll work from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is schedule in time that my son will be attending a virtual, it's not supposed to be a school, it's officially an enrichment opportunity that they're providing for people in our neighborhood, in our school district rather, here in Massachusetts. So there is a 3-hour block of time that he could be online with his teacher and with some of his classmates. So I'm going to schedule that in first. I'm using my TWSBI Eco in clear purple, and in here I have some really cool ink. The ink is one I definitely cannot pronounce, but it is a Pilot ink, and I'm using it on this, or in this clear purple TWSBI Eco fine point. So what it looks like right now is that they are going to have about an hour of what is called homeroom teacher chat, where they can just chat with their teacher. It's going to be a group format, so several students will be there, and you're not supposed to have like individual conversations, but the teacher will be like there to interact with the students. And then for my son's grade, he'll have like a 15-minute break and then some music, and then it looks like there's a 45-minute break before they start some librarian story time, and it looks like there's 2 story times happening, so I'm not really sure yet if it's going to be like the same story or back to back, or like 2 opportunities to attend. I'm not sure. Since it's going to start on Wednesday, I will know more once we get started. And I think this has been some of the difficulty for me. I'm sure if you're watching this channel, we probably share some personality traits, And it's been hard for me to really work on not planning ahead too much and not really knowing all of the answers to questions, or not really knowing how things are going to go, and just trying to like roll with it. So if anything, this experience has taught me about patience, and also about like letting go of some control, because at the end of the day, I do feel confident that we're going to be okay, and also just exercising as much flexibility as possible. So I'm just thankful that anything that the school district is doing right now. It looks like there's nothing on Thursday. It's like planning or office hours. So on Friday, they have a schedule put out already. So I'll put that Friday on, and then we will go from there. All right, so now that I have the days that there's going to be some enrichment activity sponsored by the state, I'm going to show you guys how I've been planning our week. So we are about 1 week into this situation. And what I did was I asked my son for a rundown of what he does at school. So he gave me this like breakdown of what he was working on and his schedule. I'm pretty sure it's like not 100% accurate, because he has like an hour and 45 minutes of reading. So I don't know if that like actually happens. I tried to keep his schedule for homeschool as similar to his schedule at school as possible. So I also asked him what are the specific things that he was covering in school. His district has also been really good at sending out a monthly overview of what they're going to be doing in the 4th grade, which is the grade that he's in. So I know that he's doing decimals for math. He does like this special activity at 9. So it's either art, music, PE, or library. Then he has snack. Then he does this thing called read and jot for a little while. Then he has lunch, writing, social studies, and then the end of the school day. So what I've done is I keep all of these things. There's some flexibility in the day, especially because I have to work around what's happening with my work and what demands I have to address on my computer. So sometimes I have to flex. But I like to have a morning meeting at 8 o'clock, which I'm going to write down every day. And then I give him the breakdown of what we're going to do. So I've been organizing it on a daily basis. But this week I want to just do it overall for the whole week, and then see how that works out for us. I also wanted to add some things in for him. So in addition to what he regularly does at school, I've added some journaling, some computer classes. We do some sort of physical activity as a family every evening, and I want to introduce or add some like cooking, home eccy stuff in there as well. So I'm going to try to mimic this as much as possible, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about how I've been doing, or how I've been kind of planning out my lessons every day. Alright, so now I've gone in and I've fit in all of the additional activities, and I've worked around what he's going to be doing for enrichment activities with his school. So some of these things are fairly easy to do. So at 8 o'clock we have morning meeting, which is a review of our schedule. At 8:30 we're going to be doing decimals for 3 out of the 5 days. And all I did was I went to Barnes & Noble and I got a book for math on its own, 4th grade math, decimals, vocabulary, and science, and that way that can augment what we're going to be doing. So for decimals, since I have an entire workbook on decimals, I have him do 2 sheets of decimals a day. Also, if we're introducing a new concept, like we did decimals general, and then we also did adding decimals last week, I find a quick YouTube video that has to do with adding decimals, and that is what I play at the beginning. So we do like 5 minutes of YouTube instruction, and then we do 2 pages of decimals, and then 2 pages of general math. So I'm just going through 4th grade math every day. I just pick out the next page in sequential order, and he does 2 pages of decimal work and then 2 pages of general math. After that, at 9 o'clock, he does 30 minutes of guitar practice. So he is already in music lessons, and he has it virtually now every Monday, but I have him do 30 minutes of practice downstairs while I am checking email or doing work. At 9:30, I do what's called music theory. So what I did was I looked up on a website. So Rolling Stone magazine has a list of the 100 top rock and roll songs. So he is really into rock and roll music. He plays the electric guitar. Clearly, he's not getting good music education from his mom. So I got those 100 songs, and every day I give him 10 songs to listen to, and he rates them on a 3 different domains. So how does it make you feel on a scale from 1 to 0, or from 1 to 10? What is the coolness factor? So how cool do you think this song is, and how much do you like it on a scale from 1 to 10? These are just like 3 domains that I picked out so that he can kind of have a little bit more of a critical ear when he's looking at them. These are just the 3 that I picked out. You can pick out like any 3 domains for them to be like more engaged as they're listening to the songs. So he listens to about 10 songs. They're like about 3 minutes a piece, so that's about 30 minutes, and it gives him like a little bit of a break. After he finishes this like music theory, he does a snack. We have some fruits. He like rinses them off and goes ahead and does his snack time. He is working on a literary essay, so a lot of the work has to do with like looking up what a literary essay was for me. And then now that he has like an outline going, he's going to be spending at least 3 days this week typing up that essay, and then proofreading that essay, editing that essay, and then having me read it over and edit it, and then like work on a 2nd and 3rd draft of that. So that's what we're going to be doing this week during that essay writing time. After he works on that essay, which takes about an hour and a half, then he has a 1-hour lunch break where he eats, and he also can use some of his electronics time. What we're doing is we are allowing him 4 hours a day of electronics time, which is a lot, but he also, it's a way of us having some sort of reinforcement system and also a punishment system. So I need him to do what he's told immediately when he's told to do it, because I have a full plate at work and I'm still working, and he needs to understand that this is school time, not playtime. So I start off with 8 popsicle sticks in a jar. Each popsicle stick is 30 minutes of electronics time. And if he needs to be told something twice, or if he has a poor attitude or something like that, I take away 30 minutes. So it gives him like enough buffer that he can still have electronics time, but it also allows me a mechanism to reward and punish him as the weeks or as the days go by or weeks go by. So he can use some of his popsicle sticks during lunchtime. After that, we'll go into social studies, and we'll be doing that every day this week because the enrichment that his school is providing is just in the morning. He is working on a social studies section on Canada. They did Mexico for a few months at the beginning of the school year, and now they're working on Canada. So we worked on the geography of Canada last week, as well as their government system. So I'm going to do a geography review. I'm going to try to find something on Canadian culture, or I might also kind of let him do some Google searching and look at things that are prominent in Canadian culture. On Wednesday, we'll look at the agriculture of Canada, and then on Thursday and Friday, I want to give him some sort of history of Canada. So we might identify like an important historical figure, and he'll have to put together like a presentation or something on that. So this is some of the thinking that I had to do every day. Like, what are we going to do about Canada or with Canada during this time? So I'm glad I took this opportunity to kind of think through what I'll have him do every day. It'll save me some time at the end of each day. I do want to introduce computer classes to him. So he's on his computer a lot for video games, but I do want him to do things like some typing and possibly some instruction on coding or something like that. So this is something that I'm going to take the time right now to look up and see what he can do, if he can do things like Prodigy or some other computerized learning. That is what I'll have him do during those times. And then at the end of the day, I want him to end with some journaling. There isn't reading during these days this week, so I'm going to make sure that he is doing his reading at the end of the day, right before he starts his nighttime checklist, and then we have family workouts. Fortunately, the gym that my husband and I belong to, are sending out daily workouts that you can do at home, so we have all been doing those as a family. So the only thing that is outstanding for me to do right now is I'm going to write out all of those songs for his music theory, and I'm also going to do a little research on what computer activities he can do. That way I research it now and he's all ready to go once we start up tomorrow morning. Alright, so I've gone ahead and signed him up for Prodigy, which is one of the online math games that you can play. It kind of gamifies math, and they get coins and prizes and like things that they can do if they correctly answer math questions. It was free to sign up, and then I will look into whether or not we need to expand to a premium membership. It's going to be like a few dollars a month or something like that, but he should be good, and that will cover us for computer time for probably this week, and then we'll see next week what I have, anything that I want to change for that. I also wrote the next 10 songs for him that he's going to be working on Monday, so now I feel like his week is all set and I can move on to my week.
It worked! My old account worked!
What?
It turned out that it just was that screen that wasn't letting me log in.
Yeah.
When I logged into the actual Play Prodigy, it let me log in.
Good. Excellent.
Yes, so I can keep my old account and I don't have to get every single suit again.
Sweet. Love you.
Love you too.
So this is how I've been organizing my task list in my work bullet journal. So if you want like a full rundown of how I organize my task list, I'm going to link some videos probably up in the cards or down below. And the basic gist of it is that I use the Eisenhower matrix, which is a way of prioritizing your tasks based on rating their urgency and their priority or importance. So here I have things that are high priority, high urgency. So those are things that need to be done this week and are also really important to me. These are things that are very important but maybe don't have to be done this week. Ideally, you want most things to be high priority, low urgency so that you can give them the amount of time and attention that they need. Then there's low priority, high urgency. Those are things that are like job requirements or things that you have to do, like non-value added but required tasks. And then I have low priority, low urgency. I have a waiting on list and a horizons list. Waiting on are things that are outstanding that I'm waiting on from other people. I like to touch base on this every single week because it allows me to have appropriate follow-up so that things don't fall to the wayside because I'm waiting for people. And then horizon are just important days that are coming up. So even though they're not on my task list yet, they will be in the future, or they're important dates that I have to get ready for. So that's what I have in my horizons list. So I've kind of truncated that to get it onto one page, and then I'm going to start my weeklies, or rather I'm going to start my dailies on the right hand side over here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in my task list, and I do that by reviewing all of my to-do list items in my to-do folder from my email account. I also carry anything over from the week previously. Waiting on, I also have a waiting on folder for emails that I've sent out that I'm waiting on a response for. So that's how I do my waiting on. So I'm gonna migrate things, review my work email folders, and then set up my daily for Monday. All right, now the horizon section should have a few work trips that were coming up, but I don't know if that's happening anymore. Horizon things are kind of up in the air right now, so I'm just gonna leave that as is and just see how this works out in terms of my work tasks. I'm gonna set up my daily. And then the very last thing that I do is I'm going to take all of these work tasks and I'm actually going to plug them in to my weekly schedule. So this is a little different from my son's because this is like what I'm going to be working on, and I'm going to try to actually schedule in all of my work tasks. That way I ensure that everything on this list has a specific time that I'm working on it, and then these things don't fall through the cracks. These things, especially if they have to be done this week but I have no interest in doing them, those are things that I have to schedule in as well. This is the stress-free part of my planning because I know exactly what I need to plug in to my week, and I get to use some stickers and do some lettering and have a little bit of fun. So this is the last part of my weekly routine, and hopefully we can call it a night for this week. on the high priority, high urgency, some of the things in the high priority, low urgency, and all the things on the low priority, high urgency have a scheduled time, so I'll make sure that I'll do that this week. And now that I've put in all of my workouts, hopefully this week I'll be able to get in 2 workouts. The CrossFit gym that we go to has started doing online classes at 7 a.m. I can do that virtual class, and then I'll also do a workout with the family in the afternoon. So that is my goals for this week, and this is pretty much all I can do in terms of scheduling my week, since I don't really know what I'm going to be facing when I open up my email on Monday. I have some scheduled appointments, but I'm trying to leave it as flexible as possible, having just like a really big thing that I want to get done each day, and not kind of overwhelming myself with multiple tasks. So these are like the big things that I want to do: work all day on a specific outline, or work all day on a specific task at work. So this is about it. That is how I scheduled my week and my son's week, and we'll see how that works out for us this week, and I'll have to take some notes and see how I need to modify next week. Alright guys, until next time, I hope this video brings you some utility and a little bit of joy during these uncertain times.